Hey everybody, I'm B. Jamine, aka The Terrible Australian of supermarcy.com, and welcome to my video review of the latest adaptation of one of Nicholas Sparks' novels, The Choice. So let's get right into it. Now, I guess, it's another year, another Nicholas Sparks adaptation. They're pretty much just coming out of the woodworks at the moment, so like over the last few years, there's been kind of like one every year over the last few years. Which is no surprise since Nicholas Sparks is now a full-on producer now, and he's actually got a production company that's sort of focused on bringing his books to the big screen. So The Choice is the latest ones of that, and I'll sort of talk a bit about, I guess, my relationship with with Nicholas Sparks. I haven't read any of his books and whatnot, but I had seen every single adaptation of, film adaptation of his work so far. Other than The Notebook, which I actually think is a legitimately really good film and a really good sort of classical Hollywood kind of romantic drama, all the rest are kind of just sort of range from average to really crappy. So I could go in depth why that for a lot of them, but we haven't got an entire episode to do that. We're just here to focus on The Choice, which is the latest one, and this one is directed by Katz, I believe. Yes, Katz, and it stars Benjamin Walker and an Australian actress, Teresa Palmer, as sort of the love interest in this film. I have to say though, I will start off and say that if you've seen all of sort of the recent kind of Nicholas Sparks's kind of book adaptations, film adaptations, particularly like The Best of Me, Safe Haven, and The Lucky One and whatnot. This one is pretty mediocre. I have to say, in a lot of ways, it's just basically a bunch of, as you would expect. This film pretty much has all the hot, cheesy, kind of cliched hallmarks you would find in Nicholas Sparks kind of adaptation. It's got a really attractive couple, they fall in love, and trials and tribulations come along. And of course, there's a lot of sort of cheesiness and sentimentality, romance, and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, this film pretty much has all those hallmarks. Although I will say, though, compared to at least the more recent ones, this one is kind of the least interesting of them, because there's a lot of good reasons why that is, but a lot of that would go in spoiler territory. But yeah, so at least of the more recent ones, at least plot-wise and execution or whatnot, it's definitely just a pretty kind of standard, really mediocre, kind of forgettable kind of romance. And it doesn't really have anything that sort of makes it kind of stand out in a way. At least the other ones I sort of mentioned before had, whether they're very average or really crappy, at least had some kind of memorable qualities to them that stood out. But this one is kind of bland in a way. But it's not to say it doesn't have its good qualities, like some of the other adaptations do. The leads are Benjamin Walker and Teresa Palmer. They actually do have a really good chemistry with each other, and they're real sort of a nice, attractive couple, and so they have good chemistry with each other, as you should in a romance like this, because that's the key component. So in that regard, they do have nice chemistry. Again, I said that word again. And they, at least, they have pretty good sort of, and you can sort of buy their relationship in the film. And I will say this, though, compared to other, Nicholas Sparks adaptations, this one, at least, I got to give it credit for two reasons. This one has at least a bit of a sense of humor about itself, particularly in the first half, which it actually does have some. It goes for a bit more comedy, intentional, of course. Some jokes sort of work, and others kind of mostly fall flat. But at least I've got to give it credit for at least not taking itself way too seriously, like a lot of the adaptations in the past have. And of course, it sort of has its unintentional funny moments as well, as you would expect. And of course, besides sort of the leads, the supporting cast all do pretty well with what they're given. It doesn't really sort of a film that demands them to be great, but they put in some decent work nonetheless. Like Maggie Grace is pretty solid, and also Oscar-nominated actor Tom Wilkinson does a pretty solid job as well. It's not like one of his best performances, and it's clear that he's just there to pay the for the paycheck. But, he still turns in a decent enough performance, and I actually did find his character likable. And, of course, like with all other adaptations, you know where the story's going to go, and it does descend into cliches and tragedies and trials and tribulations and whatnot that a lot of these a lot of films based on Nicholas Sparks's books kind of follow, because they all pretty much have the same type of template and formula. But I got to give the film credit for one thing, and this is actually a major spoiler, but I'm not going to mention it here. I got to give it credit because this film kind of blew my mind in a way where it went in the last half, because I expected it to go one way and then it's not like, but it goes a completely different direction. I'm not talking about some kind of major plot twist or anything like which Safe Haven had, which was hilarious. This is more like something that you usually expect to see in a Nicholas Sparks adaptation, but the film doesn't go to that, doesn't resort to that cliche at all, which actually kind of blew my mind in a way, because this is kind of a first for any of, at least of the film adaptations that I've seen of his work so far. So I'm not going to say what it is, but you can kind of at least have an idea what it might be based on why I'm being so vague about it. But that being said, it's harmless. I mean, it's not a good movie at all. It's pretty mediocrely. No, sorry, it's pretty poor. I mean, it's pretty, on a filmmaking standpoint, it's competent but kind of forgettable. Script is forgettable. Like I said, it's a competent and harmless film, but it's, again, it's just forgettable, really. And there's not real, despite some little elements here and there, it's, compared to sort of other adaptations of his work, it's definitely kind of the least interesting one as well. It's not well, it is a bad film, but it's not outright bad. It's just a bit bland. So, but it does have its moments. So, but it's mostly bland. So forgive my ramblings on this film. So, if I had to give the choice a rating, I'd probably give it 2 stars. Like I said, there are some elements that I like mostly on performances and kind of little cliches that the film didn't resort to during the course of the film. But overall, it's just kind of just a really bland and forgettable romantic drama. So, yep, that's it. That's the end of my video review of The Choice. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you, everyone.